Welcome and good morning to Mike Ferry TV. It is the week of March 7th, 2016. 2 months down, 2 months gone. How have you done? Where does your production compare to your plan, what you had in mind? You know, it's interesting because I get so many, and I've mentioned this last week and the week before, so many great responses from so many of our clients. And I had a person recently send me an email, and it was a fellow from the state of Colorado. His name was Dave. He's brand new licensee, and he had said in his email, tell me what you think I should do. Now, I haven't responded yet, but here's what I want to share with you what I'm going to tell Dave in an email response as to get his career started in real estate. Some of it may apply to you. I'm going to say to him, number one, that if you succeed or if you fail, I'm going to ask you, or I'd ask him, to say who's at fault. See, if things are going well, you're responsible for those things going well. But if things aren't going well, aren't you in essence responsible also? And of course you are. If your production is moving in this direction, it's because of you. If your production is moving in that direction, it's because of you. See, in either case, it is going to be because of you. And what you have to understand is when you understand that you are the cause of your success, or you're the cause of your lack of success, then you can look in the mirror and you can make some very, very valid decisions and do something about the road and path that you're on. So then I'm going to say in an email, with that being said, I want him to think about 4 thoughts. How do you first keep your attitude a little more positive than negative each day that you work? It's hard. It's hard to do that. Why? Because, see, truthfully, and I don't mean this to sound wrong, we live in a very negative world. You're not going to turn on the news or the radio or read the newspaper and see any good news. Never happens. And what you hear and what you read and what you see and what you're around dramatically affects the attitude you have through the course of the day. So therefore, if attitude is how you see, how you perceive people and situations, it's going to be either a plus or a minus, positive or negative. How do you make the attitude more positive? Better input into your head, because the more good things you put in your head, the better things come out of your mouth and the better activities you have when you're working. So I'm going to suggest to Dave that he work every day on his attitude. Then the second thing I'm going to suggest to Dave is that he has to really understand the importance of how he approaches not only the business, but the people he's working with. Several weeks ago, I mentioned the word image to you. What is the image that Dave is going to present? Okay, what are the words he's going to use? Because your approach is everything from having your makeup on and your hair combed and your shoes shined and your nails clean and the firmness of a handshake and the smile on your face and the energy that you are using and the enthusiasm you have to the words you use and the clothes you wear. That's all part of the approach. Why? Because they're judging us all the time. That approach, which is so critical. Now, think about this, and you know it's true. You've met somebody, you've looked at them, and you've either been positive or negative, which back to your attitude. And you've approached people to have a conversation, and you'll say to yourself, gosh, I don't want to spend time with this person. And this is before they've even smiled and said hello. So what I'm going to say to Dave is the approach is as important as anything else that you do. Then the next thing I'm going to say to him is, what are your levels of expectations? In his case, he's a newer agent, just getting his license. His expectations are probably way up here. New agents are going to conquer the world, and I'm all supporting that 100% of the time. I want Dave and all of you to conquer the world. But I want you to be realistic in your expectations. People will routinely say to me, I'm getting my license, I'm going to do 100 deals my first year. And I said, yep, and I'll be 7'2" the same day that happens. There has to be realistic expectations, but we can't have expectations that are so low that nothing takes place. What are your expectations? Do you expect when you prospect to get leads? Do you expect to get appointments? When you prospect, do you expect people to be friendly and nice, or do you expect them to be hostile and angry? the expectations you have when you walk in on a listing. Do you anticipate they're going to be receptive and open to what you're saying, or they're going to fight you on all the things you're saying? You need to think about that very carefully. Then the fourth thing I'm going to say to Dave is this. Everybody has a story, and most of the time they want to tell it. But what you have to understand is most people don't want to hear it. Don't walk in on a listing and want to tell your story. I saw a speaker a couple of weeks ago, and I had to sit back and chuckle and laugh because the speaker stood up and the first thing she said is, "I need to tell you my story." Well, I'm watching the audience. I don't think really most of them care about her story. Watch. What a buyer and seller cares about is what are you going to say or do to help them buy or sell their home. There's no story involved. And then I wrote down and said to Dave also, or will say to Dave, make sure you eliminate all the excuses that you generally would like to have to avoid doing the job you're supposed to do. So watch. Attitude, approach, expectations, no stories, no excuses, and understand that truthfully, you are the one, the person in the mirror, responsible for the levels of success that you achieve or do not achieve. If you can keep that thought in your head, keep that thought in front of you, and keep the goals that you've set here, because we still have now March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December to accomplish the goals we've set to make this a great year. Well, if you take this advice, attitude, approach, expectations, no stories, no excuses, it can happen to you, and it will happen starting today, and that's what we both want to have happen. Go make it happen today.